Hello, this is Donald J. Peterson, running for governor of Florida, and I have to share this. It just is very shocking about Florida corruption. Here it is. Law enforcement is conducting reverse drug stings in every county, and that definition is law enforcement posing as drug dealers selling confiscated drugs and large drug buys too, but we're just going to talk about the trafficking right now. So that means they're trafficking all these drugs and marijuana on Instagram, Snapchat, and Discord. And check this out. They're keeping all the money for themselves. Okay? And see, they're paid a salary. They're paid a salary. And yet while they're paid a salary, they're posing as drug dealers and they're trafficking drugs, and they're keeping the drug sale money for themselves instead of sharing it with their counties. That is utter corruption. That is utter, absolute corruption to traffic drugs. And they label it reverse drug stings, but it's law enforcement selling confiscated drugs and marijuana. Okay? Where's all the drugs coming from? Oh, it must be law enforcement selling them on the internet and keeping all the money for themselves. Now, here's the thing. We're going to war with China. We need that money. And they're not sharing the money. They're not sharing the money. They're keeping all the money for themselves. Isn't that fraud? Isn't that like embezzlement of their own county? I mean, shouldn't we investigate all of this? I want to. I think we should investigate all the conspiracy and racketeering by law enforcement, trafficking drugs and keeping the money for themselves. I want to legalize marijuana and tax it, and then I want to sell drugs too, legalize drugs, but do it in a responsible manner, like a psych ward. You check yourself into the psych ward, you can do all the drugs you want. There's no fentanyl in there. You don't bring the drugs yourself. It's all provided pharmaceutical grade, and you can't leave until you're sober. That's what we need. We need that. But law enforcement is trafficking all the drugs and marijuana, and they're keeping the money for themselves, defrauding their counties. That's all got to be investigated. How are the sheriffs able to get away with that, but yet the average person, if they don't have a marijuana card, they get in trouble for a little bit of marijuana, but law enforcement is selling it all on Instagram, Snapchat, and Discord. How is that possible? Thank you.